Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. When I managed to get my game group together, which for obvious reasons hasn't happened for quite some time now, we tend to gravitate towards the larger thematic games. We will play adventure games that last for hours, or of course we will play Dungeons and Dragons. However, it is frequently the case that towards the end of the evening, in the wee small hours of the morning, when some of the party have left and when everybody has had a few too many tipples, we will play something that's a little less taxing. It's always good to have a few filler games in your collection, and I think D&D Dungeon Mayhem is a really good light filler game that ticks all of the boxes that I would expect. This was a gift from a good friend of mine, Matt, who long-time subscribers to the channel may remember from our old D&D videos where he would sometimes scream at me. And this is a game that you can teach in seconds and play in minutes. It's a very lightweight card game, a very confrontational head-to-head battle where last person standing wins. This base game caters up to 4 people for ages 8 and above. And if we look at the cover here, we can see our 4 playable characters. We have an orc barbarian, we have a human wizard, an elf paladin, and a tiefling rogue. Each of those characters has a 28 card deck, a life tracker that goes up to 10, a reference card explaining all of these standard icons and any special abilities the character has. And then there are tokens for tracking health, but I don't use those, I use glass beads instead. And the game itself could not be simpler to play. Each player will take one of the characters, they shuffle their deck of 28 cards, they set up their life tracker with 10 hit points, they draw a starting hand of 3 cards, and then the game begins. And the ultimate goal is to kill everyone else at the table. Maybe these heroes are from rival factions, maybe they have got into a bit of a scuffle at the local tavern. It doesn't matter, you want to prove that you are the best. So on your turn you will draw 1 card from your deck, and then you will play 1 card unless you play a special type of card that allows you to play more, and then play moves on to the next player, and that is it. And the game does its absolute very best to keep things as simple as possible. Most of the cards don't even have any text on, and in most cases there are just 5 different things that a card can do. Let's take a look at our hand. So this is our opening hand. This is what we would be presented with at the start of the game. And of course, the first thing we do is we draw 1 extra card. We have drawn Stone Skin. And then we simply have to pick one of these cards to play, and if applicable, pick a target for the card. And it just so happens, by some crazy coincidence, that the cards that we have laid out before us here have all of the different basic symbols that you will encounter while playing the game. The Knowledge is Power card has the draw card symbol on it, and it has 3 of those symbols. If you play that card, you simply get to draw 3 extra cards and put them into your hand, and then your turn is over. The Evil Sneer card in the middle has the healing icon and also the play again icon. When you play Evil Sneer, you will heal 1 hit point if you have taken any damage, and then you can immediately play another card from your hand, enabling you to chain cards together to create combos. The Magic Missile card on the right has the deal damage icon and then the play again icon. So if you played this card, first you would pick one of your opponents to take 1 damage, and then you would play another card from your hand. Normally when you play cards like this, you will discard the cards after use, but there is one type of card which remains in play, and that is any card that has a block damage symbol like Stone Skin at the top there. If you play that card, you place it in front of you, and if anybody attacks you with a deal damage icon at any point, they have to get through your defenses first. So in this case, if you were playing Stone Skin in front of you and an opponent inflicted 3 points of damage on you, 2 of the damage points would go into Stone Skin and destroy Stone Skin, and only 1 point of damage would get through to you. And that is pretty much it. You draw a card, you play at least 1 card. Sometimes because of the lightning bolt symbols you will get to play additional cards, and in some cases with certain characters you could chain together your entire hand in really powerful combos. And if you do manage to empty your hand at any point, at the end of your turn you can draw 2 cards as a nice bonus. So there's not a lot to learn, there's not a lot of icons to remember, and gameplay is very, very fast. There's very little room for analysis paralysis. It is just very fast card play, 1 card after another, getting up in the grill of the other players at the table. What adds an extra layer of interest is that, of course, all of the characters are asymmetric in design. They all have different things that they're good at, and they also all have at least 2 types of special ability card in their deck, which help to bring out their various characters. The wizard gets the charm ability, which lets you take a shield card that an opponent has already put in play. You take that card and place it in front of you, and it will defend you until it is destroyed. The wizard also gets fireball, which inflicts 3 damage on every player at the table, and also the always funny, always mean vampiric touch, which allows you to swap your hit points with an opponent's. So if you have been getting a bit of a beating, you can use this card to swap your hit points, and suddenly you're not in such a bad position anymore, and someone else is. Next up is the Orc Barbarian, and as you can imagine, she is all about chaos and brute strength. She has the special ability Battle Roar, which says each player, including you, discards their hand and then draws 3 cards. She has the Mighty Toss ability that allows her to immediately destroy 1 shield card that has been put in play by another player. And then she has the Whirling Axes ability. Each opponent at the table will take 1 damage, and for each opponent at the table you heal 1 damage. This means she is generally only worth using in games where you are playing with 3 other people, so there is a full complement of 4 players at the table and you can get maximum benefit from this card. The Paladin character only gets 2 different special icons in her deck, but she is so powerful anyway, it makes sense that she is limited in that regard. She has the Banishing Smite ability, and this one will allow you to destroy all of the shield cards that are currently in play, including your own. And then she has the Divine Inspiration card with the special sun icon that allows her to choose any card in her discard pile and put it back into her hand. Finally, we have our Rogue. He gets the Sneak Attack ability, which allows him to destroy 1 shield card that's in play, the same as the Barbarian. He gets the Pickpocket icon, which allows him to steal the top card of any player's deck and play it immediately. And then he gets the incredibly powerful Clever Disguise, which states that none of your opponent's cards will affect you or your shield cards until your next turn. And that's your lot, 4 different characters, and they do play differently. Even though in most cases you are working with the same 5 basic icons that every player has access to, they are all available in different combinations, which make the characters feel a little bit different to play. For example, the Barbarian is the only character that has a card with 4 damage icons on it, and therefore is the only character that can inflict 4 hits with a single card. While the Wizard is the only character who has a card that allows him to immediately draw 3 extra cards from his deck. So they all have those little specialities, and then that's enhanced further still by those special abilities that we've just ran through. So overall, without a lot of fiddly rules, without a lot of exceptions, without a lot of extra information being put on the cards, all of the characters do play differently, and that does add to the replayability of the game. Of course, this game is very replayable anyway because it plays so quickly. You can whip through a hand of this in 10 minutes easily, and that's even with people who have never played the game before, because it really is very easy to understand. There is not a lot here that's going to stump anybody. The strategies are quite obvious. This isn't a brain burner. It's supposed to be a bit of silly fun. It's supposed to be an excuse to beat up your mates. And that is the one thing I would mention. This isn't going to be a game for all groups of people, simply because it is very in your face. The whole idea is to beat down all the other players at the table until you are the only player left. There is opportunity to team up on people, to knock people out of the game very, very quickly, very early on. There are opportunities for uneasy alliances where 2 players will suddenly team up to make sure someone else gets taken out of the game, and then they will immediately stab each other in the backs anyway. If you don't like that very confrontational style of play, if you're going to get upset because you feel like everybody else at the table is bullying you, this one isn't going to be for you. But for me, this is just that kind of manic, chaotic fun that you can have, that is the perfect way to cleanse the palate after playing something a little bit more cerebral. And I can see this game being rolled out quite often at the end of gaming sessions when people aren't quite ready to go home, but really aren't quite ready to set up a game of Pandemic. And I think that's about all I have to say about this one. This gets a high recommendation from me, with the understanding that it is a confrontational game. It is not a thinky game. It's not a brain burner. It's simple fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.